Good morning, lovely people. Today we are doing a read on the GB News story about Royal Family Gone Woke. I will show you a bit of the clip and then I will do a reading for you. What is this negativity towards poor King Charles? Man, the guy is just recovering from cancer. It's his first trip abroad and you've got to be so negative. Now, when you listen to this, remember that GB News has got a massive reach, millions of people, and almost exclusively the comments underneath this video are things like, get rid of the king, King Charles is weak, oh, we can't stand it when the king gives in to wokeness, and it's really all about calls for ending the monarchy, just because he's being sensitive to somebody else's culture. Really, their reaction is worse than what the king has done, in my view. But anyway, I'll show you a little bit of the clip, not the whole thing, and then I'll do a read on it. Notice the title, Royal Family Gone Woke. King Charles adjusts tradition to avoid offence on Australian tour. Like he's done some weird, terrible thing.
Will just off to Australia and Samoa in their first long-haul tour since the King was diagnosed with cancer. But the 9-day trip down under has raised eyebrows after Buckingham Palace announced that the phrase walkabout won't be used out of respect for Australia's Indigenous communities. It will mark the first royal tour ever where it has been deliberately dropped. So in Aboriginal culture, the term walkabout refers to when a person travels on foot into the bush in times of ritual, meditation, change, grief, or coming of age. It comes after a video released on Monday to mark the Princess of Wales' recovery from cancer was praised.
Okay, so he goes on to milk Princess Catherine's video, which I'm not going to show you because that's not even relevant to his story. So he praises Catherine for being modern, but he's trashing the king for being sensitive. And now this is what he says.
A message to celebrate this country's diversity as well.
Together and individually, we are strengthened by sharing perspectives. We recognise today that our diversity is our greatest strength.
And back in 2022...
What is that little sod? That's the King of England.
The King and Queen reportedly invited Ngozi Fulani, remember her?
Okay, this has got nothing to do with the King's current thing. Yeah, that was a debacle. Everybody agreed that they handled that situation wrong. If you don't know about Ngozi Fulani, just Google it. Yeah, so I cut that bit out because it's got nothing to do with it. This guy's just being snotty.
So tonight I'm asking, is the royal family in danger of going full woke? Going head-to-head on this now, the royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams and the political commentator Anna McGovern. Both of you, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. Anna, I'll start with you. Do you think the royal family is in danger now of going a bit woke here, especially when it comes to this walkabout stuff?
I absolutely think they are in danger of going woke, and I think this is a trend that we're seeing where we're rejecting tradition and something that has been part of our culture for decades now. This is...
Okay, this lady's ignorance is showing. It couldn't be showing any more if she tried. Oh, it's been part of our culture for decades. Well, honey, it's been part of our First Nations culture. I'm an Aussie speaking. It's been part of our First Nations culture for thousands of years. So she's talking about you've got to respect tradition, but she's only talking about her white privileged tradition that's been around for a few decades versus the Australian Aboriginal tradition of thousands of years. So you've got to respect tradition, but only if it's her tradition. Anyway, the rest of her blah is pretty much the same. You can go on GB News and watch it if you want. It's sickening and I'm not going to watch it. But this Richard guy, he makes some good points. So I'm going to forward to what he says. And then they just reject him out of hand, even when he's sensible. I'll forward you quickly. And this will be the last part. And then we'll do
this. Richard, I'll bring you in here now. I mean, do people of Aboriginal heritage actually give a toss whether or not the King uses the word walkabout?
Okay, that's a very good question, and that's probably the most important question. Why didn't he ask one of our Australian First Nations people that question? Why ask an old white man? He doesn't know. Ask somebody whose culture it applies to. This guy's just really his snotty attitude's really aggravated me this morning.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I mean, Anna was talking about sensitivity and traditions and the way they're handling this trip. Very important, by the way, and I'm sure we'd all agree it's an excellent thing that Australia remains a monarchy, and that's the way we want to keep it. In 1999, there was that splendid referendum result. But
look how bored those other two are. They don't care about history. They don't care that Australia voted whether or not to keep the monarchy. They don't care. They've just got their point. they're not going to listen to him, and they're just going to decide, well, they've already decided.
As far as walkabout's concerned, yes, in 1970, the Queen Elizabeth coined the phrase going on a walkabout with Prince Philip, but things have moved on since then, and it's very, very important, especially remembering that the monarchy, the British monarchy, isn't automatically the head of the Commonwealth, but the King Charles is, and it's absolutely essential, in my view, that the sensitivities in different countries are observed. If you look, for example, the last...
Okay. So what does the guy in the middle think about observing the sensitivities of countries where the king goes to visit?
You need to move with the times.
I get that. I get that. But Anna, my point would possibly be giving into this stuff actually doesn't do you any good. The moment you show a bit of weakness, people pounce on it anyway. You know, we had the whole Ngozi for...
Okay, then he goes to talk about Ngozi Fulani, which has got nothing to do with this at all. So he says, when you show a bit of weakness, people pounce on it. Is it weakness to be sensitive to other people's cultures? Now, I'm not on the woke bandwagon, and I don't believe in woke and all of that. Is it really weakness that people are going to pounce on for the king just not to use the word walkabout? I mean, are these people overreacting? And the thing for me is, people don't actually even often click into the video or watch the whole video. So what they see is the royal family gone woke. Question mark, exclamation mark. King Charles adjusts royal tradition to avoid offence on Australia tour. No, he's not avoiding tradition or adjusting tradition. He's just using a different word. For goodness sake, why are these people so hysterical? Why are you so afraid of the king using words that he wants to use? And you know, he is the king now, and he can make the decisions. He doesn't have to do everything the Queen did, the late Queen of Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth. Oh, these are those two, the guy in the suit and the blonde girl. They're so caught up in their point of view, their perspective. Look at them. They want a clean sweep. They want to decide what words people use. They're worse than the woke brigade, policing what the king can and can't say. Really? Really? Who do you think you are? Oof, this has made me mad. Oh, here we go. Round and round and round. Yeah, you've got to be careful about not being too politically correct and the world going crazy. But on the other hand, you're just as bad if you're trying to control. Look there. Why can't the king call it what he wants to call it? It's his tour, his first tour since announcing his cancer diagnosis. And he's always said that he's going to modernize the monarchy. So why can't he change? And it's not that he's scared. And is it really weakness to be sensitive to people's culture? Oh, look at that. Candy cane angel. It's time for a treat. So this is just fodder for GB News. They've really turned very strange recently. They've turned anti the king. I don't know why. And they just think this is a sweet treat for them. They're going to pounce on this little piece of information, blow it out of the water, try and make it out to be some scandalous, terrible thing. And why are they linking it with stuff that happened whenever that was? I think the Queen was still alive when that Ghani Pelosi stupid thing happened. If you don't know what that was, go and have a look at it. I think everybody agreed in hindsight that that was not well handled by the palace, but that's got nothing to do with us. King Charles wasn't even king then, I don't think. I can't remember. Anyway, got nothing to do with this. And so you've been able to point to 2 instances where you think the royal family is woke, and now it's the family gone woke. Oh, fuck. Sorry, it's really aggravated me. Okay, and there's the king, or the commentator that was common sense, and these 2 on either side, they're completely blinded by their own prejudice, by their own, their cause. And their cause is now, it's toxic to be sensitive to other people's cultures. And yeah, I think this is the king in the middle. It's like, well, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And you know what? I am the king, and I will decide how I want to refer to my tours. Oh, look at that. I am Carly From death comes rebirth. And look how beautiful she is and how very different she is from any of the other cards on this table. And you know what that says? That's the king saying to these little nits that are trying to rock up some kind of a scandal here. I am the king now. Look how beautiful. Look how different. Look how unique. I will do things my way. And really, if you don't like it, tough luck. And the card on the bottom of the deck, there's the king in the middle, and he's aware of these people criticizing his every move. How annoying. How absolutely annoying. But you know what? It says, ghost people. You faceless ghost people, you don't have the power, and it just sounds like sour grapes and jealousy. Weakness? And people are going to pounce? I don't get that comment. I really don't. That, it's not like he's letting in floods of migrants without any border control and giving them houses and medical care. It's just a word, and he's entitled to modernize. Ooh, okay. Let's see what these cards say. What do you think? Am I reading too much into it? Am I frustrated for nothing? Do you think the GB News article is correct? Do you think King Charles should never change anything to do with the monarchy? And do you think that the British culture, which that lady concedes has only been around for a few decades, should trump sensitivities of cultures that have been around for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, in fact? Okay, this card, this Orca card, this is my orchestration, orchestration. So this, to me, appears that these guys on this show are just showing some false outrage. They're just pandering to the people who like a bit of a scandal and a bit of a hyped up thing. This, to me, is very much late Queen Elizabeth II's energy. From across the veil. Look how beautiful she is, how smart she is, but also she's giving the the two fingers, I think, to the reporters, saying to them, stay in your own lane. How the monarchy works, yes, you can comment on it, but don't make stuff up. Don't try and cause a drama where there is no drama. I'm not the queen anymore. My son is the king, and he can do what he wants. He can call it what he wants. It's just a couple of words. How is it weakness? Weakness! And people are going to pounce. What are they going to pounce on? What does it mean? And he's being sensitive to the culture, as that Richard Fitzsimmons pointed out, is being sensitive to the culture actually going to help the local people's view of the monarchy? And he said, do the Aboriginals even care? That was the guy in the middle. I don't know what his name is. Why didn't you get a First Nations people from Australia person on? Why ask two privileged white people? And there we go, manipulation behind the scenes. And there are the two commentators on either side, and that guy in the middle, the smug little one who goes, King Charles spoke about diversity, and now he's pandering to the culture. That's him. But look at the bottom here. That's our First Nations people here in Australia. Those are the people about whom, or to whom, King Charles is showing respect. And this guy here, the presenter of GB News, doesn't care about them. No, he doesn't care about them. He just wants to make it all about bashing King Charles. And he's succeeded, because his comments are flooded with people saying King Charles is weak. And he said, if you show weakness and people will pounce. I think he's generating a story where none exists. Oh, and look at that. See the lady there? She's got a blindfold on, and she's feeding a bubble to the swan. Of course, the swan represents the monarchy. The king owns the swans in England, and this bubble is just, it's rubbish, it's nothing. And this here, the lady with the blindfold on, this is the guys who are commenting and not doing a good job, not really reporting accurately. And what they're doing is they're not doing the monarchy any favours, because that bubble there, it's empty. He's feeding empty rubbish to the king up here. But it also means that the audience, who doesn't know better, will swallow the story and think that the king is weak. They might not even understand how that happened, how they came to the conclusion that the king is weak, but it's because this man in the middle said, when you show any weakness, people will pounce. What weakness? Mr. Man, what the hell are you talking about? And there, another show of strength. And this again is our late great Queen Elizabeth. See, it's the same lady. It's the same lady as this previous card. And whenever the Spirit brings out two similar cards, it's a repeating message. And so there she is. She's sort of in the background with these beautiful colors in the background. It's kind of indicating a spiritual element. And here in the foreground, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a drum. And there's the drum separates her from, so that's the veil. She's on the other side of the veil. And here there are two, what are they? Bison. And there's the big bison, King Charles, and the little bison, which is Prince William. So this is the monarchy. Late great Queen, King Charles, and Prince William. And what she's basically saying is the way that I did things was how I did things. That's not how my son and my grandson have to do things. The monarchy evolves as different monarchs come to power. And it's interesting here, at the bottom here, it says ritual. So that was her ritual. That was her way of doing things. Just because Charles does something differently doesn't mean it's wrong or weak or whatever. And he's always had a heart for Indigenous peoples. Okay, we'll pull two more and then we'll close it off. Please like if you do and subscribe if you haven't. It really, really, really helps me out. I'll pull up. So that one jumped out. There's a lady in the background with many arms, and I always get this in this card that's a spirit, that's somebody who's passed away. So again, Her Majesty the late Queen. And this here in the foreground, this is fast forward movement. This is the new monarch. This is new traditions, new and it's not like Charles has come in and King Charles has come in and changed absolutely everything about the monarchy. No. Oh, and also, this idiot in the middle there, he goes, the Queen's face has been taken off our currency. I don't think we ever had the Queen's face on our currency. He said, are we going to change, Australia going to change our currency to take the Queen's face off it and put some Aboriginal dude on it? Who the hell are you to tell us what to put on our currency? I actually don't think we've had the Queen's face on our currency. And as far as I can remember, for decades and decades, we've always had a variety of people on our currency, including, yes, some Aboriginal dude. Oh, God, these people are so, they're talking about stuff that they know nothing about. That's what's aggravating me. Oh, and I was going to do the underlying. This is my touched by God, come to Jesus moment. So these are the little people. They're little people. The man, the commentator man and the commentator lady. And this is the king. Okay? This is the king. This is how much power he has. And these little people only wish they could have that same power. And so the little person is touching the falcon on its head. And when he touches the falcon, this big golden light spews out. So when this commentator tries to touch the power of the king, tries to denigrate the king, he feels as though he's getting a little bit of the king's star power falling down on him. And because of the king's legacy and power and extreme recognizability and extreme, I don't want to use that word power again. Well, I mean, king is the most famous person in the world, virtually. So this little commentator, yeah, he's so tiny, he's so small, and the only way he can get his day in the sun is to try and get the crumbs from the king's table. And how he's chosen to do it is to try and denigrate or ruin the king's reputation. But he's insignificant and he's nothing compared to the king. But instead of being respectful and doing an honest and balanced story, he's decided to hype it up. And what is worse? Doing something that's sensitive to other people's culture, what this guy calls woke, or actually buying into the anti-woke agenda, buying into the anti-politically correct agenda, and somehow making it a crime to be sensitive. As that Richard Fitzsimmons guy said, yes, it's important to respect culture, but it's also important to move with the times. Oh, okay, very annoyed. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and I will see you next time, sending you off with love and blessings from Rainbow Pyramid.